Imagine a fresh start in a new city, a new job, maybe even a new love. But then that new love starts feeling less like a dream, and more like this carefully laid trap. It leads to a confrontation with a force, something so possessive it seems to transcend even death. That's just the very beginning of the chilling story we're diving into today. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a stack of sources, really digging into the darkly captivating world of Keenan Bedford's An Evil Thing. It's a story that really blurs the lines between, say, a psychological thriller and, well, outright supernatural horror.
Yeah, and our mission for you, the listener, is to not just navigate the intricate, really terrifying twists of this first book. We also want you to grasp the immense scope, the chilling possibilities of the An Evil Thing saga that's already, in motion. Our sources are direct excerpts from An Evil Thing paperback final edition. We've got the prologue, various chapters, the epilogue, and crucial details about the sprawling series that's planned to come. We're really going beyond just the page here. We want to understand the why behind the terror and, crucially, what's next for this whole unfolding universe.
So, yeah, prepare yourselves. You might need to question everything you think you know about obsession, about what truly lies beneath the polished surface of a fresh start. Because this story and its future, it's anything but ordinary. It really promises a journey into the darkest corners of human and maybe inhuman nature. All right, let's unpack this fascinating, maybe terrifying world. Before we plunge into the harrowing journey of Trey Alexander, let's first meet the architect behind this nightmare. Who is Keenan Bedford? What kind of storyteller are we dealing with here that he can craft something so uniquely unsettling?
Well, Keenan Bedford is described as a passionate writer, and you could definitely feel that passion in the work. He's known for creating these thrilling stories that delve deep into suspense, mystery, and psychological drama. What really seems to stand out about him is his keen interest in exploring the darker aspects of human nature. He captivates readers with these intricate plots and compelling, often deeply flawed characters. The source material mentions that when he's not writing, he enjoys computer and video games, stop-motion animation, and even finds inspiration in everyday life. He resides in Margaret, Alabama. This blend of interests, right? From the structured narratives you find in gaming to the intricate world building of animation, it suggests a mind uniquely attuned to crafting immersive, intense worlds that are often visually rich, which An Evil Thing certainly is. It's clear he's someone who understands how to build a world that keeps you right on the edge of your seat.
That blend of mystery and psychological drama, yeah, coupled with interests in gaming and animation, it truly gives us a sense of a creative mind, someone dedicated to building immersive, intense worlds, much like a game designer or an animator might. And the book itself, it's already arrived with some significant momentum, hasn't it? That seems to speak volumes about its initial reception.
It absolutely has. An Evil Thing was copyrighted in 2024, initially released January 2025. And what's particularly noteworthy, especially for a debut author, is that a reprint is already slated for October 2026.
Wow, already.
Yeah, this quick reprint, happening so soon after its initial release, it strongly suggests significant anticipation, or, more likely, some early and substantial success for this new work. It's a strong indicator that readers are quickly connecting with it and probably being terrified by the story, too. The dedication also offers a poignant personal touch right at the beginning. It kind of grounds the author before the narrative plunges into its darkest depths. It reads, "To my mother, Mary Bedford, for your endless love and support, this book is for you." This kind of heartfelt personal connection, it often provides a surprising contrast to the chilling narratives these authors choose to explore.
Now hold on to your seats, because Keenan Bedford really doesn't waste a single page. The prologue immediately throws us straight into what's described as a chaotic, heart-pounding chase. Can you vividly set that scene for us? Make us feel the terror right from the start.
Absolutely. The story kicks off on a dark, pretty ominous evening in a large, dimly lit mansion in San Diego. We're thrust right into the middle of this terrifying confrontation. We meet Gabriella Henson, described as beautiful but consumed by a dark rage, and she's pursuing two men, Nick Carlton and Alan Jones.
Okay.
The catalyst for this sudden, brutal turn. Nick breaking up with her after discovering she was also dating Alan. But this isn't just, a simple romantic betrayal. It spirals into this horrifying, desperate pursuit. Nick and Alan are literally running for their lives. It's depicted as a maze of dark corridors, their frantic footsteps echoing off cold marble floors. It creates this palpable sense of claustrophobia, of inescapable dread. And Gabriella's chilling taunts like, "Come out, my two lovers. I want you to be with me forever."
They just drip with this possessiveness that immediately establishes the extreme danger she poses. Her voice, haunting and malicious, it bounces off the walls, making the hairs on their necks stand on end. It's a clear sign this is no ordinary jilted lover. This is something far more sinister, totally unhinged.
So it's clear Gabriella isn't merely upset, she's genuinely dangerous. She's operating on a level of fury that seems to transcend ordinary human emotion. What ultimately happens to Nick and Alan in this terrifying opening act, and how does it establish the stakes for the rest of the book?
Well, their escape attempt is truly desperate. They discover the mansion's imposing front door is sealed shut with a heavy bolt, effectively trapping them inside.
Nick, though, remembers a last-ditch plan. An underground tunnel in the basement. It's their only hope of survival. They bolt down the hallway through the kitchen, dives head first down the basement stairs. Nick manages to scramble into the narrow tunnel first, pulling himself through the confined space with frantic effort, desperation just fueling his movements. Alan's right behind him, gasping for breath, but just as he reaches out to grab Nick's hand, Gabriella, with what's strikingly described as inhuman strength, seizes his ankle and violently drags him backward. Alan's screams echo through the tunnel, a sound of pure terror. Nick is paralyzed, his heart breaking, totally unable to help his friend. He staggers out of the tunnel into the night, collapses, and keeps the horrific event a secret, forever haunted by Alan's screams and his own inability to save him. This immediately tells the reader that Gabriella isn't just a threat, she's an unstoppable force, almost preternatural in her abilities. And this is where her chilling intent is fully laid bare. Inside the mansion, Gabriella stands over the now captured Alan, a disturbing smile playing on her lips, whispering, "Now you're missing, Alan. No one is going to save you. You're going to love me forever." And then, the line that serves as both a grim promise and the foundational premise for the entire series. "And now, it's time for me to find my next victim." This pivotal moment, it doesn't just solidify Gabriella as a truly formidable, almost supernatural antagonist right from the start, but her dark rage and inhuman strength immediately hint that her evil transcends mere human psychology. It's effective because it sets a tone of high-stakes, inescapable danger. It prepares the reader for the deeper, darker elements that will unfold later in the saga, without revealing everything up front.
That truly is a masterclass in setting tone and stakes.
Wow. We know immediately what Gabrielle is capable of, and the moment she declares she's looking for her next victim, we know someone new is about to enter this terrifying game. From your perspective, what specific literary techniques is Bedford employing here? How does he make Gabriella seem so formidable, almost supernatural right from the outset? That's a fantastic observation. It's really not just what happens, but how it's presented. Bedford uses this vivid, visceral language to describe her actions' dark rage, inhuman strength, blinding speed, which immediately signals to the reader this isn't just, a scorned lover. She moves beyond the bounds of normal human capability, introducing those first whispers of a supernatural element.
Right.
The setting itself, that dimly lit mansion with dark corridors, it creates this gothic, oppressive atmosphere that mirrors her internal darkness. And by having Nick escape, but leaving Alan behind to her mercy, the author establishes the extreme consequences of defying Gabriella. It makes her an almost inescapable force.
Yeah.
This prologue, it effectively builds a palpable sense of dread and foreshadows the deeper, more complex horror to come. It sets up an antagonist who is both psychologically terrifying and, maybe, physically unstoppable.
So who is this unfortunate next victim that Gabriella sets her sights on? Enter Trey Alexander, making his own fresh start. What's his story? What exactly is he trying to leave behind in his pursuit of a new beginning?
Trey Alexander is introduced as this young man explicitly seeking a radical new life, like a complete reset. He moves from Seattle down to San Diego, making a deliberate effort to put his past behind him, specifically leaving behind his old friends Carly, Sam, and Freddie.
Wait, the Carly, Sam, and Freddie from iCarly?
Exactly. It's a brilliant and highly relatable detail from the author. Creates an immediate connection for many listeners, right? It subtly positions Trey as someone who perhaps embodies a certain innocence or maybe a past filled with lighter, more carefree times.
Totally.
By leaving them behind, he's not just moving cities. He's kind of shedding an identity, looking for a new home, a fresh start. However, the narrative highlights that he feels a pang of loneliness, a vulnerability that, as we soon discover, makes him particularly susceptible to Gabriella's calculated and, frankly, predatory approach. He's yearning for connection, which tragically will prove to be his undoing.
And what about his new professional life? He takes on a new role, doesn't he? And unknowingly steps right into a very dangerous web.
Exactly. His new job is at Carlton Browser Services, located in bustling downtown San Diego. And here's where the author subtly, yet chillingly, begins to weave this intricate web. Trey is interviewed by none other than Nick Carlton.
Nick, the guy who escaped her in the prologue.
The very same one of Gabriella's previous victims from that terrifying prologue. This connection is a significant early red flag for the astute reader. A thread that immediately links the initial horror to Trey's seemingly new and safe life. It creates this powerful sense of dramatic irony.
Wow.
Trey gets the job and quickly meets his new coworkers. There's the polite receptionist, Rachel Anderson, the supportive and warm Malia Thompson, and the laid-back Bryce Jensen. This diverse, seemingly normal group creates an almost idyllic backdrop for his new life, right? Contrasting sharply with the lurking danger the reader is already acutely aware of. He feels optimistic, believing things are finally falling into place, completely unaware of the shadow that's about to just engulf him.
But, as we know, that comforting normalcy doesn't last, does it? The very title of Chapter 3, A Fateful Meeting, tells us exactly what's coming. How does Gabriella cunningly re-enter the narrative and initiate her sinister plan?
Precisely. The normalcy is incredibly short-lived, almost laughably so, given what we already know. Gabriella approaches Trey at work. She presents herself as just another coworker, claims she's been employed there for 3 years. She's initially described as warm and friendly, charming, funny, and always seemed to know the right thing to say.
The perfect mask.
Exactly. This initial portrayal is crucial. She's adept at projecting an image of desirability, trustworthiness. She casually invites him for coffee. Their conversation flows easily. Trey quickly perceives this as a burgeoning, genuine relationship. He's amazed, he now has a girlfriend. He feels this sense of ease and comfort, completely unaware of the sinister intentions, the meticulous planning behind her friendly facade. It's a classic move of a predator, right? Disarming the prey through this calculated love-bombing technique, establishing a false sense of security before the trap springs shut.
As a listener, yeah, you're already totally on edge because you know Gabriella's true murderous nature. How does the author start to introduce those subtle, insidious red flags? The ones that Trey, in his loneliness and desire for connection, might initially just dismiss.
The author is incredibly skillful here, planting these seeds of unease, gradually eroding Trey's sense of safety. First, Gabriella's appearances start becoming too convenient. She's always popping up just as he was walking out of a meeting or waiting near his car.
Creepy.
Right. It isn't just coincidence. It hints at active stalking, this unnatural awareness of his movements that subtly violates his personal space. Then, in a truly chilling exchange, Trey mentions an old street back in Seattle, a deeply personal piece of his past, without ever naming it. And Gabriella casually replies, "Oh yeah, the one near the old bookstore and a library with the cracked green awning."
How could she know that?
She tries to explain it away, saying her mansion has the same structure, but Trey can't recall ever telling her. This moment is a significant breach of his privacy. It suggests a deeper, more invasive level of knowledge about him that borders on the uncanny. It signals she's been watching him long before their fateful meeting.
And it doesn't stop there, does it? The psychological unease continues to build, suggesting something beyond mere human intuition.
It absolutely does. It escalates from just unsettling coincidences to outright premonitions. Further deepening the unease, Trey experiences this vivid dream where Gabriella has pitch-black eyes and whispers something that sounds like a sinister chant.
Whoa.
This isn't just a bad dream, it's a powerful premonition. A symbolic, almost psychic glimpse into her true, darker self, strongly hinting at that supernatural element lurking beneath her charming exterior. Significantly, his coworker Aaliyah, who's observant and genuinely caring, notices his change in demeanor. She sees the distant, troubled look in his eyes. She asks him, "You've been different lately, like your mind's somewhere else."
Someone notices.
Yes. She's the first character to actually voice concern. She acts as an early warning for Trey and, a point of identification for the listener, echoing our own growing suspicions that something is deeply, terrifyingly wrong. She represents a potential lifeline, a counterpoint to Gabriella's isolating control.
That detail about Gabriella knowing Trey's old street in Seattle, it's so insidious. It's the moment you realize her charm is just a carefully constructed facade and something far more sinister, far more calculated is at play. And yeah, for anyone who grew up watching iCarly, that connection to Trey's past adds this layer of relatable nostalgia, making the contrast with his grim reality even more jarring, right before everything truly goes sideways.
That's a profound point. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this entire section masterfully lays the groundwork for psychological manipulation, but like you said, with an almost supernatural edge. Gabriella's calculated charisma, combined with these subtle yet terrifying violations of privacy, unequivocally demonstrate her meticulous planning. How she systematically isolates her target. She's not simply charming him, she's studying him, gathering intimate information, slowly eroding his sense of personal space and safety.
Methodical.
Completely.
Yeah.
Trey's initial loneliness, his yearning for that fresh start, ironically makes him incredibly receptive to her advances. It illustrates how a vulnerability can become a gateway to a deeper, more terrifying trap. It highlights the insidious nature of obsession and how easily genuine human needs can be exploited by a predatory, maybe even supernaturally influenced mind.
Weeks pass, and their relationship appears to flourish, well, at least from Trey's perspective. But we, the listeners, we know this can't end well. The invitation to Gabriella's mansion feels less like a romantic gesture and more like a step into the lion's den. What's the atmosphere like as Trey approaches and enters her domain?
As Trey drives toward her mansion, the urban landscape kind of gives way to more isolated roads. He feels this increasing sense of unease, almost like he's driving into another world. The mansion itself is described as enormous, grand, with imposing arched windows, weathered stone walls that give it this timeless, almost ancient elegance. It's beautiful, sure, but carries this underlying sense of foreboding.
Got it.
Gabriella gives him the grand tour, showing off opulent rooms adorned with antiques and, crucially, her impressive personal library. This library, it's not just a room, it's practically a character in itself. It's filled with this meticulously curated collection of mystery and romance books. She specifically mentions authors like Dylan Robertson, Stephen King, Christopher Pike, and R.L. Stine.
Interesting choices.
Right. This collection isn't just a list of authors. It's a chilling window into Gabriella's carefully cultivated mindset. Authors like Stephen King, known for blending psychological horror with supernatural dread. Or Christopher Pike, whose YA thrillers often explore dark secrets and obsession. It suggests she's not just a casual reader. She's a scholar of terror, maybe even using these narratives as a twisted blueprint for her own actions.
Like research.
Exactly. It makes you wonder if she sees herself as the protagonist of her own dark romance, albeit a horrific one. Trey is awestruck by the opulence, yet he just can't shake this lingering, gnawing unease.
So it's not just a romantic dinner. It quickly becomes this subtle but intense test of commitment, doesn't it? She moves remarkably fast.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Over dinner, Gabriella wastes no time. She immediately brings up marriage, a future together, pushing for commitment with these soft but serious questions like, do you ever think about marriage? It's a calculated psychological tactic designed to secure his loyalty, bind him to her quickly. Big time. Trey, despite his nerves and that growing internal unease, he genuinely cares for her. And under her intense, unwavering gaze, he makes these profound promises. I'm not going anywhere. And yes, I love you, and I promise I will never leave you.
Oh, Trey.
I know. This promise becomes a crucial and incredibly dangerous anchor for Gabriella. It's a verbal contract that she will later twist into a justification for her horrific actions, binding him to her twisted vision of forever. He feels a pang of guilt, wanting to do right by her, but deep down, that sense of dread is really starting to bloom.
But even amidst this intense talk of forever, Trey can't shake that profound feeling of offness, a growing sense that something is deeply wrong. What does he discover that hints at a much darker, hidden truth within the mansion?
His unease grows to the point where he just can't sleep. Restless, Trey wanders the mansion at like 3 a.m. He finds himself drawn back to the library, and during his exploration, he discovers an old leather-bound volume with strange symbols on the cover, written in an unknown language.
Strange symbols, like a cult.
It certainly hints that way. It isn't just an antique. It's a potent symbol of hidden, esoteric knowledge, directly hinting at something far beyond the purely psychological, maybe ancient supernatural forces. Before he can investigate further, Gabriella calls out to him, her voice kind of trembling, demanding to know where he is. Unable to shake the feeling of something being profoundly off, he quietly leaves the mansion at 3 a.m., driving home in this fog of dread.
Good instinct.
But almost immediately, Gabriella calls. Her voice is now this chilling blend of anger and desperation, repeatedly demanding, "Why did you leave? And do you love me, Trey?" This is a major escalation of her obsessive control, a suffocating display of her possessiveness that confirms Trey's worst fears and shatters any illusion of a normal relationship. Her calls are like a digital tether, just pulling him back.
The pressure mounts incredibly quickly. Gabriella's intensity shifts from charming and persuasive to openly suffocating, controlling. How does this manifest in Trey's daily life? How does it make him feel truly trapped?
Trey's daily life becomes this waking nightmare, characterized by an onslaught of psychological torment. He's bombarded with nonstop calls and texts from Gabriella, demanding his whereabouts, fervent declarations of love. It makes him feel utterly suffocated.
Constant.
Relentless. His phone buzzes constantly with messages like, "Why aren't you answering me?" and "Call me, now." This constant digital surveillance is like a modern form of psychological imprisonment. He even receives a video camera delivery from someone named Brusque Poet, described as a part-time YouTuber known for urban exploration, found footage stuff. Trey considers filming, a detail that subtly foreshadows his future role in documenting the unknown. But the real terrifying pressure comes when Gabriella appears unannounced at his door. She's visibly frustrated he hasn't called, scans his house suspiciously, accuses him of not acting like he loves her. She tries to rationalize it, claiming she's just overprotective because he's her first boyfriend. But the intensity, the sheer invasiveness, it's undeniable.
And the stalking becomes even more blatant, even invasive, moving from simply observing him to violating his most sacred spaces.
Indeed, the stalking becomes profoundly disturbing. Later, Trey, feeling this rising tide of paranoia, tries to avoid Gabriella at Walmart. He's there buying a new laptop from another YouTuber, David Pakman.
David Pakman, the commentator.
Yeah, interesting detail, right? Anyway, Gabriella spots him, pursues him home in her car, confronts him directly in his driveway, which confirms his growing paranoia. He tried to evade her, but she's always one step ahead. Most chillingly, Trey begins to experience strange phenomena at home. A bedroom door closing on its own, phantom footsteps echoing through his house, a knock on his door with no one there.
Okay, that's terrifying.
He initially dismisses these as, like the AC or his imagination, a coping mechanism against the unbelievable. But later, in a moment of terrifying, gut-wrenching realization, he concludes it had to be her, meaning she was actively stalking him inside his own home.
Inside his house.
Yeah. This is a critical shift. Her threat moves from external surveillance to this invasive, deeply personal terror that breaches his sanctuary. It blurs the lines of what is real and what is imagined, making him question his own sanity.
Aaliyah, Trey's observant coworker, she gives him that much-needed dose of reality, warning him to set boundaries. But the true, horrifying reveal is still to come, isn't it? The 8-month anniversary arrives, and Trey, in a desperate attempt to salvage their relationship, actually brings an engagement ring. What happens next is truly, well, an evil thing.
You're right. The facade's about to just crumble with devastating force. Trey arrives at Gabrielle's mansion, engagement ring in hand, clinging to this desperate hope that this will finally solidify their future in a positive way. Gabrielle accepts the ring, but ominously insists on wearing it on January 25th for a special event in Los Angeles. This date, as we'll learn, carries a horrific significance.
Uh-oh.
During dinner, a waiter, Tyrell, makes a seemingly innocent comment, "Nothing evil between you," right? Because that would be an evil thing.
Wow, the title drop.
Right. Gabriella immediately takes offense, reinforcing her pathological control over Trey's perceptions of others, intolerant of any external judgment. But the real stomach-dropping turning point comes when Trey, exploring the mansion again out of his lingering unease, discovers a secret door concealed within the library.
A secret door.
He hears a faint, desperate voice, "She's going to kill you," and follows it to find Alan Jones, chained, emaciated, utterly broken in the basement.
Alan, from the prologue.
Exactly. It directly and horrifyingly connects to the prologue, revealing Gabriella's long-held secret and just shattering Trey's reality.
And then, in a moment that defines pure, chilling horror, Gabriella appears. Calm, but terrifying. What is her confession? How does it reveal the depth of her premeditation and madness?
Gabriella her demeanor is eerily calm, her expression devoid of any human emotion, which makes her revelation all the more terrifying. She reveals that Alan was her last boyfriend, whom she brutally trapped after he tried to leave her for dating Nick Carlton.
So she admits it.
Admits it all. This not only confirms Alan's story from the prologue, but directly implicates Nick's earlier harrowing escape. She then chillingly states, just like you were going to, revealing with unnerving certainty that she knew Trey's true, unvoiced thoughts of leaving her. It demonstrates her profound, almost psychic intuition or surveillance.
She knew he wanted out.
Oh, yeah. She further confesses to having killed other men who tried to leave her and explicitly states she had intended to kill Nick, her former coworker. She reveals she worked at Carlton Browser Services specifically to get closer to him, highlighting the meticulous, predatory premeditation behind her actions.
That's wow. Calculated.
Totally. She then knocks Trey unconscious and he wakes up chained in his spare bedroom. a horrifying mirroring of Alan's fate, sealing his entrapment.
This is truly chilling, a methodical unfolding of a deeply disturbed mind. And she's not done making her terrifying point, is she? She proceeds with this grotesque ritual of possession.
Not at all. Her actions escalate from psychological torment to outright physical and mental torture. Gabriella later appears disheveled and enraged, accusing Trey of lying about his love for her and pointedly looking at Aaliyah.
Jealousy, even now.
Absolute possessiveness, yeah.
Yeah.
Inability to tolerate any perceived infidelity, she takes out a silver knife, slashes his shoulder, and with a horrifying declaration of ownership states, "You're mine." Her words are deeply disturbing, a twisted redefinition of affection. This is what love is, Trey. It hurts and makes scars, but it binds us together.
That's not love.
Of course not. And the ritualistic horror doesn't end there. She returns with surgical tools and wine, promising a transformation and calling it devotion, stating he'll be the last and she'll make it right with him. This moves far beyond mere obsession into something deeply disturbing, almost ceremonial, a twisted ceremony of permanent possession and control, hinting at a desire to physically alter him to fit her insane fantasy.
So what does this all mean? The progression here is utterly terrifying. From casual dating to literal chains, torture, surgical tools, the author meticulously builds this escalating dread and that revelation that Gabriella worked at Carlton specifically for Nick. It's a chilling detail of her premeditation, suggesting this long game of terror.
What truly stands out about this is the brutal, almost seamless escalation. From sophisticated psychological manipulation to outright physical and mental torture, coupled with the introduction of this ritualistic element, the knife, the surgical tools. It raises that important question for the listener. Is Gabriella purely a psychopath, driven by extreme pathological possessiveness? Or is there an underlying supernatural force at play, fueling her dark rage and inhuman strength?
Right.
Her chilling words about making it right with Trey suggest a twisted, almost spiritual logic, this desire for an eternal, unbreakable love that utterly overrides any moral or human boundaries. This dramatic shift prepares us for the true, undeniable horror to come as the narrative fully embraces its supernatural undercurrents.
Trey's situation is now incredibly dire. He's suffered unspeakable trauma, including a forced sexual encounter that leaves him drained, and he has this lucid dream vision of a mysterious woman, Alondra, telling him to save himself and Alan, cryptically hinting at the truth about Gabriella in the future. It's clear he has to escape. What's his desperate plan?
Driven by Alondra's cryptic message and just the sheer will to survive, Trey manages to find a gun. And chillingly, a ledger of Gabriella's past victims hidden in a dresser drawer. Each photo in the ledger is marked with this stark X, confirming her murderous history, the sheer scale of her previous atrocities.
Proof!
Exactly. He then uses a clever, resourceful trick his old friend Sam Puckett, yes, from the iCarly crew, taught him, using a safety pin to pick his handcuffs.
Sam Puckett to the rescue.
Right. This small grounding detail connects his resourcefulness to his past connections, his innocent life. He quickly discovers the mansion's windows are sealed with bulletproof glass, the doors are heavily locked. It turns the opulent home into an inescapable prison. He even desperately calls 911 but gets no service. He realizes he's completely cut off, trapped in this desperate situation, reminiscent of an iCarly episode where his friends were trapped by that obsessed fan Nora Dershlit.
Wow, that parallel.
It's particularly poignant, yeah, highlighting how his innocent past is now twisted into this horrific, inescapable present.
And what about Alan, the man Trey finds chained and emaciated in the basement? What crucial information does he provide that sheds light on Gabriella's twisted timeline?
Trey, having freed himself, hurries to the basement to free Alan. Alan, weak, emaciated, deeply traumatized, reveals he was Gabriella's boyfriend from January 25th until June 25th. He recounts that he discovered her dating Nick Carlton during Gabriella's birthday celebration, which led directly to his capture when he tried to leave her.
Okay, so the dates.
Exactly. This is a crucial timeline detail. Trey met Gabriella after Alan's capture. This means the special event for which Gabriella wanted Trey to wear the engagement ring on January 25th was, in fact, the anniversary of Alan's capture.
Oh my God, that's grotesque.
It's a grotesque, deeply disturbing mockery of their relationship. It highlights Gabriella's deeply disturbed mind and her cyclical, almost ritualistic patterns of obsession and violence, where dates of capture become anniversaries of twisted love.
Gabriella finds Trey trying to free Alan, and the final brutal showdown begins. How does this desperate struggle unfold? What shocking truth do we learn about Gabriella's true, monstrous nature in her final moments?
The confrontation is absolutely brutal. It showcases Gabriella's full, terrifying power, Her eyes start to glow, a faint red hue flickering.
Red eyes.
Red eyes. And she fights Trey with blinding speed and frighteningly strong movements, described like a supervillain. This visual and physical transformation definitively solidifies the supernatural element. She's no longer just a human psychopath. She retrieves a katana, a deadly sword, from her library via a secret door, further demonstrating her preparedness for violence.
A katana.
Yeah. She slashes Trey's leg, causing him immense pain, incapacitating him. In a desperate, heart-wrenching moment, Trey, bleeding and furious, desperately asks, "Do you love me?" Her eyes flicker between red and brown, and she softly, almost heartbreakingly says, "Yes, I do."
A flicker of humanity.
Maybe. It's a brief, horrifying glimpse of a possible internal struggle within her, a flicker of humanity, or perhaps just a last echo of a twisted affection. But then her eyes flare red once more, and she declares, "But he has to die," confirming her unwavering, murderous intent, driven by some unstoppable force.
So faced with this overwhelming, monstrous force, Trey is forced to make an impossible choice to save Alan.
Exactly. With Alan's life hanging in the balance, Trey lunges for the gun he dropped earlier and fires twice. Gabriella collapses, dying in his arms, whispering, "I love you, Trey."
Wow.
It's a tragic, violent, and deeply complex end. Trey is left heartbroken, burdened by the act, even though it was a necessary act of self-defense against this supernatural threat. He's left with profound guilt and grief, wrestling with the paradox of his feelings for her, despite her horrific actions. The emotional weight of this climax is immense, leaving both Trey and the reader utterly drained.
It seems like the nightmare is finally over. A brutal but decisive end. But the author, true to his craft, has one more utterly terrifying twist up his sleeve, doesn't he? What happens in the immediate aftermath after the police arrive?
Just when you think the trauma has ended, that Gabriella's reign of terror is finally over, the author delivers a truly shocking, game-changing twist. Alan is freed, and Aaliyah, who arrived with the police, immediately helps Trey, offering comfort and the promise of therapy. However, Officer Brian Roberts, investigating the crime scene in the mansion's basement, hears a faint, rhythmic sound, almost like a heartbeat coming from Gabriella's body.
A heartbeat from her body, no.
Yeah. Then in a moment of pure, visceral horror, her body jerked violently, her eyes snapped open, glowing red, and she gives birth.
She gives birth.
She gives birth. She screams, "Trey, and I love you, Trey," one final chilling time before finally dying. The scene is grotesque, horrifying, and a definitive statement that the evil is far, far from vanquished.
Okay, let's unpack this truly shocking revelation. Just when you think the story is reaching its painful conclusion, the author pulls the rug right out from under us with this utterly astonishing twist. A supernatural birth, a literal bloodline connection to the horror. It changes absolutely everything we thought we knew about the nature of this evil thing.
This is the moment where the supernatural element isn't just confirmed, it's amplified to an unprecedented degree. Gabriella's glowing red eyes, her inhuman strength throughout the climax, and now this inexplicable birth with glowing red eyes.
The baby has them too.
Yeah. This pivotal event immediately raises an important question for us. Was Gabriella inherently evil? Or was she possessed, influenced by something darker, some insidious ancient entity that fueled her obsession and transformed her? The newborn baby boy, whose eyes open glowing the same fiery red as Gabriella's, stares intently at Officer Roberts, a chilling mirror of his deceased mother. The chilling pronouncement is then made. A baby boy and a new nightmare has begun and will be searching for Trey next.
Oh man, it's coming for Trey.
It seems like it. Trey, meanwhile, is taken away in an ambulance, physically and emotionally shattered, utterly unsure of what terrifying future awaits him. The baby's existence ensures that the evil thing is far from over. It has been reborn, a literal bloodline connection, and is directly linked to Trey. It establishes this deep, multi-generational conflict that will undoubtedly drive the entire saga forward.
So Trey survived, but at what profound cost? 2 months later, he's dealing with the immense, debilitating trauma of his experience and the complex grief of killing Gabriella, even though she was actively trying to kill him. How is he coping with this psychological and emotional aftermath?
Trey is deeply, profoundly haunted. He's suffering from persistent nightmares, grappling with the immense emotional weight of killing Gabriella. In therapy, with Austin Johnson, the therapist assigned by Aaliyah, he confesses, "I didn't want to kill her. I love her and she loves me. I still love her, but I don't know why she was killing guys."
That conflict. Wow.
Yeah, this confession reveals a profound paradox of his feelings. He's wrestling with the agony of reconciling his genuine affection for her with her monstrous, murderous actions. He feels the pain and hurt from his loss acutely, admitting it's a memory that will never leave him. This illustrates the deep psychological toll these horrific events have taken, leaving him in this state of conflicted grief and confusion. He's struggling not just with what happened, but with his own complex emotional response to it.
Initially, Austin Johnson, the therapist, surprisingly suggests Trey is obsessive over Gabriella, which must have felt like a cruel twist of the knife. But then something extraordinary and terrifying happens, dramatically validating everything Trey has experienced. What is this pivotal moment?
You're right, that accusation of obsession would have been incredibly invalidating for Trey, as Trey expresses anger at this misinterpretation, feeling Austin is completely twisting the narratives of his trauma. Austin's demeanor suddenly shifts. His composure shatters, replaced by overwhelming, abject fear.
What does he see?
He screams, his eyes wide with terror, because he sees Gabriella's ghost behind Trey Bloody. With those familiar glowing red eyes and an evil, triumphant smile, her spectral hands resting on Trey's shoulders.
The therapist sees her too.
He sees her too. This pivotal moment is an undeniable, concrete solidification of the supernatural aspect of the story. It proves it's not just Trey's trauma or imagination. It's a literal, malevolent haunting. Austin, completely shaken and terrified, immediately apologizes and, with genuine concern, motivates Trey to try and keep his mind off Gabriella, now fully acknowledging the horrific reality of what Trey faced. This moment is crucial. It confirms Trey is not delusional, and the evil is real, persistent, and not bound by death.
With the supernatural element undeniably confirmed, Trey leans on his new connections for support. How do his friends help him navigate this new terrifying reality? And how does Gabriella's spirit continue to manifest, ensuring he can't escape her presence?
Well, Nick Carlton and Alan Jones visit Trey, offering him much-needed brotherly comfort, which must be a true solace in his isolation. They express profound gratitude for saving Alan and, crucially, confirm Gabriella's murderous nature. This helps validate Trey's nightmarish experience, reminding him he's not alone in understanding her evil.
That's important.
Very. Trey, in a complex act of processing his grief, prints a picture of Gabriella, places it in a frame. He's acknowledging his feelings while resolving to move forward. Yet the nightmares persist. They force him to stay awake, drinking copious amounts of coffee to avoid the terrifying visions that plague his sleep. He experiences another chilling encounter, seeing Gabriella's ghost in his rearview mirror while driving. She appears in her bloody white dress, those piercing red eyes, her evil smile.
Still haunting him?
And still asking, "Do you love me, Trey?" This confirms her spirit is far from at rest and is actively, malevolently haunting him. Constant reminder of her twisted love. Significantly, Trey recalls his childhood home in Seattle was also haunted by a woman named Angela Whitman, who was murdered by her husband.
So he had a paranormal experience before.
Yeah. This detail suggests a pre-existing connection for Trey to the paranormal world, almost an inherent sensitivity or vulnerability. It possibly explains why he's become a target for such powerful entities, or maybe why he's uniquely equipped to face them. He sets up a new desktop computer, attributing his tech knowledge and prowess to his old friend Freddie Benson from the iCarly days, another tangible link to his past that aids his present. He constantly wonders about Gabriella's true motives, the profound mystery of those glowing red eyes, seeking to understand the nature of the evil he encountered.
In a moment of genuine hope amidst all of this darkness, Aaliyah, who has been this steadfast source of support, confesses her feelings. This seems like a vital step toward healing for Trey.
Indeed, it's a truly healing and hopeful moment for Trey. Aaliyah, who's demonstrated unwavering concern and empathy, confesses her feelings and they become a couple. They share this tender, healing kiss at the picturesque San Diego skyline, a powerful symbol of a potential path toward recovery, maybe a normal life.
Some light, finally.
Right. Aaliyah promises to help him through his trauma, offering not just love, but partnership in his battle against his inner demons and the lingering supernatural threat. This offers a beacon of hope for Trey, a chance to rebuild. However, the story ends with this chilling hint that, in the unknown, there is something out there that is not explained yet, and for Trey is still more coming to him. It emphasizes that his journey of healing and confrontation with the supernatural is far from over. This new love is a shield, sure, but the storm is far from past.
But there's one final enigmatic piece of Gabriella's legacy that Trey discovers. A detail that perfectly encapsulates the lingering dread and her continued unsettling influence, even from beyond the grave, isn't there?
Yes, and it's a masterstroke of lingering horror. Trey, seeking some kind of understanding, goes to the library looking for Dark Knight in a mansion. by Dylan Robertson, one of Gabriella's favorite authors, which he'd noted in her personal library. He finds Love of Truth instead, a psychological drama with romance, and takes that home. However, when he returns, he finds Dark Night in a mansion mysteriously placed on his nightstand, carrying Gabriella's distinct perfume scent.
What? How did it get there? And her scent.
Exactly. The book's blurb, describing a woman obsessed with a guy, makes Trey realize Gabriella was fascinated by this story, perhaps even using it as a chilling blueprint for her own madness and actions. Crucially, the villain in that book doesn't die but goes to jail. This detail makes Trey question if Gabriella is truly gone, especially since the police never told him anything definitive about her body or its whereabouts after the initial conflict. It suggests she might still be alive, trapped somewhere, or maybe her spirit is using this book as a direct manipulative message to him, continuing her twisted influence and psychological torment even after her supposed death. The ambiguity is profoundly unsettling.
So what does this all mean for Trey's reality? The therapist seeing the ghost, Gabriella's continued hauntings, and this mysteriously delivered book, it all points to a multi-layered horror. It's not just a ghost story. It's profound psychological haunting rooted in a very real, deeply personal, and now supernaturally infused trauma for Trey.
What truly stands out about this concluding section is the author's masterful, seamless blend of psychological and supernatural elements. The mysteriously delivered book, in particular, acts as a final communication, or perhaps a lingering manipulation, from Gabriella. It directly challenges Trey's perception of reality and even the certainty of his actions, creating this lasting sense of ambiguity around her ultimate fate. Yes, it raises that important question for the listener. Is the true evil thing a physical entity that possessed Gabriella? A spiritual entity continuing to haunt Trey? Or is it the insidious, corrupting power of obsession itself? It ensures that even after her death, her presence remains a formidable, psychological, and supernatural threat to Trey, leaving him perpetually on edge and questioning everything he knows.
Despite all the horror, despite the trauma, Trey isn't just recovering. He's actively stepping into a new, incredibly fitting purpose, one that seems almost fated given his experiences. What's next for him as he moves forward from this nightmare?
Trey makes a pretty profound decision. He chooses to continue the business investment initiated by Gabriella with Elton Castee, Corey Scherer from Overnight TFIL, Sam Goldbach, and Colby Brock.
Wait, Sam and Colby, the paranormal investigators.
Yeah, all established business investors and prominent paranormal investigators. This is a remarkably natural, almost fated progression for Trey. Remember, he has that prior lifelong interest in the paranormal due to his childhood haunted house experience in Seattle, hinting at a pre-existing sensitivity. He even credits his old friend Freddie Benson for his tech knowledge, which would be incredibly useful for such investigative work.
Turning trauma into purpose.
Exactly. This career path transforms his trauma into a purpose, positioning him as a reluctant hero, or at least a deeply informed participant, in a new, ongoing battle against the unknown. It's a way for him to understand and perhaps fight back against the forces that nearly destroyed him.
And this TFIL connection, how does the inclusion of these real-world figures ground the narrative for listeners, make the fictional world feel more tangible, more immersive?
The inclusion of Sam and Colby, founders of Overnight TFIL, that popular YouTube channel known for documenting their paranormal investigations in famously haunted locations, it's a clever and effective move by the author. They're understandably shocked by Gabriella's story, comparing it aptly to A Fatal Attraction, which helps contextualize the intense, obsessive nature of her actions for readers.
That comparison.
Right. They confirm Gabriella's agreement legally allows Trey to continue the business without her. They reminisce about their own journey from urban explorers to full-fledged paranormal investigators, mentioning well-known investigations like The Conjuring House and catching a spirit on camera at the Stanley Hotel. This brilliantly grounds the fictional world of an evil thing in recognizable real-world paranormal pop culture. It makes it resonate deeply with listeners who might be familiar with these figures and locations. It adds this layer of authenticity, a relatable entry point into the unfolding supernatural events, making the horror feel more immediate and real.
This isn't just a standalone book, clearly. It's the beginning of a massive, interconnected saga. What can we expect from Keenan Bedford's meticulously planned future for this expansive universe?
The author has clearly laid out an extensive, deeply plotted plan, which truly reinforces the scale and ambition of this narrative. The main An Evil Thing book series includes 9 titles in total, starting with An Evil Thing, then An Evil Thing 2: The Lost Son, which we know will pick up 7 years later.
7 years.
Okay, then it's followed by An Evil Thing 3: Dark Company, suggesting the emergence of a larger, perhaps organized, sinister force. Then An Evil Thing 4: The Return of the Dark Company, indicating a persistent threat, and An Evil Thing 5: Revenge of the Dark Company, deepening the conflict. An Evil Thing 6: End of the Dark Company hints at a climactic resolution for that particular arc, but the saga continues.
There's more.
Oh yeah, An Evil Thing 7: Dark Man, introducing maybe a new central antagonist. An Evil Thing 8: Bloodline Connection, directly pointing to the significance of Gabriella's supernatural child. And finally, An Evil Thing 9: Lightning of War promises a grand, epic confrontation.
Wow, that's extensive.
This ambitious lineup indicates a meticulously crafted, long-form narrative arc that will explore the full breadth of the universe he's created, building layer upon layer of lore and conflict.
And it goes even deeper than just the main series, doesn't it? There's an entire Origins series planned to unpack the lore and provide crucial backstory for these compelling and terrifying characters.
Absolutely. Beyond the main series, there's also an Evil Thing Origin series planned, specifically designed to unpack the foundational lore and provide crucial backstory. This includes Book 1: Shadows of Embrace, which will be dedicated to exploring the complex, disturbing origins of Gabriella Henson herself.
Finally get her backstory.
Right. We're eager to see what forces shaped her into the evil thing she became. Then there's Haunting in Seattle, which promises to delve into Trey Alexander's own origins and his only formative connections to the paranormal world, maybe explaining his unique sensitivity or destiny. And finally, Legacy of Shadows will focus on the origins of a new character, Triton, indicating that the web of evil extends even further. These origin stories are vital for enriching the entire universe, providing critical context for the why behind the characters' fates and the true nature of the evil thing itself. They promise to unravel deeply rooted mysteries.
And for those who are just finishing the first book, still reeling from that shocking ending, there's a chilling sneak preview for The Lost Son. What does it tell us about the immediate future of the saga and the terrifying continuation of Trey's story?
The preview for An Evil Thing 2: The Lost Son is truly a gut punch, yeah. Designed to leave you desperate for more. It reveals that 7 years have passed since the events of the first book, but Trey is still deeply, profoundly haunted by nightmares, a testament to the lasting trauma. He experiences chilling hallucinations of Gabriella's mansion, seeing photos of them together that shouldn't exist, twisting his perception of reality, challenging his sanity.
Oh man, still haunted.
But the ultimate jaw-dropping reveal, however, is Gabriella's voice calling to him. And then she appears before him, alive.
Alive? How?
Exactly. It directly confirms the new nightmare foretold at the end of the first book, directly tying it to Gabriella's son and her impossible return. It ensures the central conflict with her and her chilling legacy continues, potentially even stronger and more terrifying than before. It guarantees the horror is far from over.
Finally, there's a quote attributed to Gabriella Henson herself, found at the very end of the source material. It offers a profound and almost heartbreaking insight into her character. What does it reveal about her inner turmoil?
The quote is incredibly revealing, yeah. It says, "I'm struggling, not showing my inner self and need someone to help me, but the other side tells me no and wants me to never let go."
The other side.
Right. It provides this poignant, almost tragic glimpse into Gabriella's internal conflict. It suggests she might have been battling an inner self that yearned for help, for connection, for release, but that an external or insidious entity, the other side, exerted this powerful, controlling influence. This entity, whether supernatural or a manifestation of her darkest psyche, fueled her obsession and relentlessly prevented her from ever letting go of her victims.
Wow.
It deepens her character beyond pure villainy, hinting at a tragic figure caught in a larger, darker force, perhaps even one that possessed or consumed her. It reframes her evil as potentially a manifestation of something beyond her complete control.
This entire series plan, from the main saga to the intricate origin stories and that jaw-dropping preview of Gabriella's impossible return, it truly shows a meticulous level of world building. And her own quote, it reframes everything we thought we knew about her, adding these unexpected layers of tragedy and complexity to her evil.
That's precisely it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the title An Evil Thing 8: Bloodline Connection in the series lineup, and the Lost Son preview, combined with the supernatural birth, it strongly suggests that the baby is central to the ongoing saga and Gabriella's ultimate return. The origin series and Gabriella's quote indicate that Keenan Bedford is exploring not just the what of terror, but the profound why. He's inviting critical thinking about the sources and true nature of evil within his universe.
Yeah.
It sets up this vast and compelling narrative that promises to delve into themes of inherited evil, maybe redemption, the enduring power of supernatural forces, and the heartbreaking struggle against an insidious influence. This truly elevates the saga beyond mere jump scares into a deeply thought-provoking horror narrative.
What a journey we've taken. We've unpacked the harrowing story of Trey Alexander's new beginning that spiraled into this chilling, supernatural nightmare at the hands of Gabriella Henson. We witnessed her twisted obsession, the terrifying discovery of Alan, Trey's desperate escape, and a climax that left us with a literal new nightmare in the form of a red-eyed baby promising a future just steeped in fear.
And we saw how Keenan Bedford expertly weaves psychological horror with clear, undeniable supernatural elements, validating Trey's experiences and hinting at a much larger, darker force at play. From the mysteriously delivered book carrying Gabriella's scent to that shocking sneak peek of the lost son, it's clear Gabriella's influence, and perhaps her very presence, is far from over, destined to continue haunting Trey and shaping the expansive saga for years to come.
So after everything we've learned, Gabriella's inhuman strength, her glowing red eyes, the impossible supernatural birth, and her own haunting confession about the other side controlling her, what do you believe is the true evil thing at the heart of this saga? Is it purely human obsession, a profound psychological illness, or is it something far more ancient and powerful that possessed Gabriella and now perhaps lives on in her lost son, destined to perpetuate a generational cycle of terror? We hope this deep dive has given you a shortcut to being well-informed about an evil thing, and maybe left you with some truly surprising facts and compelling questions to ponder. We definitely encourage you to seek out Keenan Bedford's An Evil Thing and prepare yourselves for the expansive, chilling series to come.